Whoa, we're back for some Bleach Soul Resonance, and it's time to get into a little bit of a tier list, a little bit of tier list in here. You know, take a look at the meta as it's shaped up. We do have a few characters moving around to my estimate, and I do want to maybe, you know, sort of put into perspective some priorities for people looking to grab characters and to, you know, flesh out their account a little bit more, because I have been seeing people who are new or returning. I've seen a lot of people who are new, in fact, actually, trying to figure out what to get for their teams. I mean, I did make a video about it, about who you should pull, who you should prioritize pulling, but obviously, you know, not everyone's going to see that. Tier lists tend to reach further a lot of times, but I do one of these every so often. I wanted to wait until after Ulquiorra actually gets his buffs, as well as Grimmjow. Didn't expect those. Didn't expect Grimmjow to get anything. I feel like Grimmjow was... I feel like Ulquiorra and Grimmjow were like completely fine, but, you know, I'll take the buffs. So why not? So here we have the original tier list. I'll keep myself down here. It's fine. You don't really need to see the guys down here. It doesn't really matter. But before we add Ulquiorra into the mix down here, are there any characters I want to shift around right up top? I think there are. I know. So first and foremost, what is my tier list? My tier list is designed for free-to-play and low-spending players, particularly on the edging free-to-play. I will say edging free-to-play. In this case, B0 to B2, but mostly taking into account who you should be prioritizing for a fuller account, with a little bit of speculation in mind. So in this case, I think I'm going to actually move Szayel up. I do kind of want to. Either here or here. I haven't really given it a ton of thought as to which one exactly, but I do think that Aizen is the most on the way out. I just feel like this character is starting to have less of a position in the game. Not that he's not good at all or anything, just that I think his position is harder to, you know, justify. I think that I also kind of want to say, I mean, I kind of want to put Kenpachi up as well. I feel like Kenpachi gaps, especially now that we've played a bit more with White Ichigo. This character just feels so strong, and it's not like you can't make use of Mayuri. So if you were going to pick characters, if you're going to pick and choose, I do think we're likely to keep Kenpachi around and less likely to keep Gin around going forward. So in case you end up seeing a rerun banner, I do think that this is probably the current state of the game as is. Aizen on the way out, presumably during TYBW, so the next 1 to 2 months. Gin on the way out, presumably next because of True Shikai Ichigo. I think True Shikai Ichigo will be thrust. I'm not saying that he will be thrust. I'm not saying that you should think he'll be thrust or that it's good that he'll be thrust. I just think he will be. That's my suspicion. You might notice that also I have the DPSs sort of, you know, segregated into their own spot outside of Ulquiorra, and I have the supports at the top. That's because supports rule this game. I saw people asking before, should I pull Mayuri? Should I pull Szayel? I just don't like them that much, but, you know, I also don't really care about performance. And it's like, and the statement I made then is the statement I'll make now, which is, if you don't care about performance, you wouldn't really be asking, right? So if you want to see your characters be the best version of themselves they can be, you do kind of need a Mayuri, you do kind of need a Szayel. These are the most important characters in the game, bar none, right? And the thing about it for free-to-plays is you don't need any dupes in them to have, you know, get a good amount of value out of them. In Szayel case, I don't even have his core stamp. I bring this up all the time. I don't even have his core stamp, and I feel like this character does a ton for Ulquiorra, for instance, right? It just is what it is. You can't really, like, avoid that reality in this game. But back to the man of the hour. Let's actually go to Ulquiorra. I think that Ulquiorra is right up here somewhere. Where exactly, though? Better than Grimmjow? Probably. I would say that the DPS race currently kind of looks like this to me. If I were to just speak flatly about the characters with no context for the teams at the moment. Because currently, if I go here, I think that the Grimjo team is heads, a full head above the Spirit team, obviously. There's just really no comparing a team that can use Mayuri and use a sub DPS who is perfect for him, right? It's hard to compare. Whereas I do feel like Ulquiorra is being held back by this guy over here. It just is what it is. Again, it's not really to dog on, you know, Aizen too much. I really don't want to. I feel like Aizen is like whale bait or like low spender bait, not whale bait. Whales already have Aizen at B6. Aizen is low spender bait, where every time he comes back around, people dip in a little bit. Maybe I'll get a dupe this time. Maybe I'll get a dupe this time. And I think that that's good for the game's longevity. But if I were to speak honestly about if you should even be doing that, I don't think so. I think we're further away from Aizen being a meta character, or being like being a meta character than being replaced. And I think that doesn't sort of stop here. Like, Ulquiorra just feels so powerful in his vacuum, in his worth. I could have clicked on the character, by the way, and then clicked on the eyeglass, but he just feels so powerful in his worth. He feels so justified in his animations that it's really hard to look at a character like Ulquiorra and not see the effort that's just gone into sort of defining this character. Great stat spread, 96.5% crit rate here, well over 100%, thus giving me the crit damage once I'm actually in battle. But great stat spread, great stat requirements on this character. Doesn't feel like a character who doesn't need your best gear. I feel like he doesn't need super specific gear to get value out of him, which is really nice for free-to-play low-spending players. As for his boundaries, I just don't feel like he needs too much to be truly strong. I would say that this is probably your limit. If you get nothing else, you could grab this, but obviously, you know, B2 is no slouch either. It's just that he's just not a character who like demands a ton to get value out of, and I think that's really impressive. Also, his core stamp has great stats locked behind it, so the more of these you get, the more core stamps you unlock and, you know, put into him, the better and better this guy's actual like damage window is going to be, because obviously he's getting this in Resurrection, right? So the more he's into Segunda Etapa, the more he's actually making use of, you know, this crazy stat spread on his core stamp. You really do see like the up and up and up, right? I think he's really good. And I think he's probably the #1 DPS in the game for free-to-play players, especially because you just need... Sorry, I'm about to go back here. Because you just need so little of really anything to make him just a... I don't know, just a bomb, man. Just a bomb. As for the rest of the characters, do I want to move them anywhere? I don't think so. Mayuri is just like way too good still. I don't think any of the characters being added have changed that. I don't think like Ulq being added has changed that. I don't think White Ichigo being added has changed that. I think Mayuri remains the best character sort of in the game for free-to-plays overall. This could coincide again with True Shikai Ichigo possibly being thrust. I know people really want White Ichigo, True Shikai Ichigo, and maybe like a Zangetsu down the line. I don't know. To me, I don't see it, but I hope for... I don't care. Ultimately, I don't care. So it's because like I don't care what colors these units end up being, so long as we fill out the teams. So I don't think True Shikai Ichigo needs to be thrust, and I don't think he needs to be slashed. So I don't really care where he ends up landing ultimately. But I just have this weird suspicion, this weird inkling that he's going to go right here. And he's going to be the best DPS. He's going to have the best support in the game backing him up. And yeah, I don't know. It feels right. It does feel right. We could also talk about a character like Nell L, who I think is also sort of like slowly moving down the register. I think before I move Zaya Lapido up here, I would like to see another spirit tactics character. Before I see another spirit tactics character, I cannot in good conscience move Nellel down, because I think that her synergy in regards to her team with Gin and Mayuri is way too good. And to move Szayel up, I would need to see him have a team that's more synergistic in that way. Now, if this was a B4 tier list, we could probably move Aizen up. We could probably move Szayel up and say that, well, Szayel and Aizen are just such a good pair that, you know, we could fluctuate. But I think without that in mind, no. Toshido could obviously, I mean, might honestly take a hit down to here now that I think about it, because what are you really pulling on Toshido for? I told people, I warned people, I said, please do not pull Toshido unless he's your favorite character. Do not pull him with your selector unless he's your favorite character. If he is your favorite character, you should pull your favorite character. But if you're just using a selector to build out your account, please get Bankai Ichigo, because you're going to want to use him with White Ichigo. And beyond that, I mean, I kind of want to move Yodohara down here, but and maybe have it like this. I mean, this is going to be surprising. I think the limited characters are just so good. Maybe I'll keep him right here just for now. I do think Yodohara has been impressing me less and less just because of the existence of the other god supports. But with White Ichigo, with Kenpachi, obviously Yodohara becomes the character you need to use. Once we get into a real new slash support, like a limited slash support, man, Yodohara drops a ton. But for free-to-play, low-spending players, he does keep his value. I just think that we are sort of like circling the drain on Yodohara a little bit to where I'd actually put him further down. But I think this is the list. I think this is the list for now. I don't want to remove anything here. I think this is good. This realm doesn't really matter that much, but I will say I kind of think that this character is probably closer to like here. And I just would rather have supports. Like all the time, I'd rather have supports. I'm going to put Rangiku up here and then Yachido up here. But other than that, yeah, I think that's really the state of the game. Nice quick one here, 12 minutes. I don't want to waste time. I don't want to, you know, extend the video needlessly. You're here for Ulquiorra. Yeah, we might as well just talk about Ulquiorra. And yeah, I think it's been me. I've been Lone. Like and like the video, share the club. We go make it. Peace, man.